Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing my August TBR, and I am so excited. So I don't know if you're like me, but I look forward to the fall. That is literally my favorite time of year, and I feel like in the fall is when I want to read like cozy fantasies. I want to read more like romantasy. I want to read mystery thriller, kind of. I'm not really a big mystery thriller kind of person, but I'm starting to get into that like feel. So I'm so excited to finally be getting into the fall time and getting out of the summer heat and diving into flannels and pumpkin spice lattes and sweatshirts. Granted, I wear sweatshirts literally every day, regardless of the temperature, but not looking like a crazy person when you go outside wearing a sweatshirt is very nice when it's actually the appropriate time of season. So, rambling aside, we're going to go ahead and start going through my August TBR. Now, I am going to be doing another like mood driven TBR this time. So I'm not going to be doing my card deck just because I want to try to knock out a couple, well, more than a couple, some books that are on my physical TBR, because one of the goals for 2024 is to get my physical TBR unread stack down. But other than the books that I want to physically read, I have a lot of books still downloaded on Kindle that I'm super excited to read as well. So I'm going to be going from there. And I'm also not going to hold myself very strict to these books. So in July, I had like 15 books or so that I identified that I kind of wanted to try to read. I'm not going to be able to get all 15 books done in the month of July, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I think the list that I have is like 13 books right now that I know of that I want to try to read, but I can always pick and choose other books as needed. So this is not set. This is not something, if you look at a wrap up, next month, the August wrap up, you might see different books that are on this list, but I don't need to explain this. I don't know why I'm explaining this, but that's what I'm doing. So we're going to stop rambling and actually get into the books. The first books that I want to get into is my physical books, the ones that I physically have in my possession now, and then we'll talk about all of the Kindle Unlimited books next. So one of the first books that I have on my physical TBR that I do want to read is a new book that I actually just bought just recently, and that is Elsie Silver's Off to the Races. This is book 1 of the Gold Rush Ranch series. I really hope this is book 1. I don't even remember if this is or not. Yes, it is. I'm glad I didn't pull book 3. But anyways, so I'm going to be reading Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I love Elsie Silver books. These are like the perfect little romance books for me. They give just the right amount of romance, just the right amount of spice. This is another, country romance, cowboy romance, as, the title kind of suggests. There's horses, but we're going to be reading this. So, Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. And then we have another romance. This one I've had for quite a while. This is actually, I believe, one of the books on my 24 books to finish in 2024. I wanted to finish the Knock 'em Out series. So this is book 2. This is Things We Hide from the Light. I think this book is the least favorite of the trilogy, but I don't know. So this one has Lena, and it's the cop that was in the first one, Nash. So it's Lena and Nash, and I did like Lena in the first book. It has literally been over a year, I think, since I've read that. So I don't really remember a lot about the story, but this is the second book of that trilogy that I want to try to finish this month. I believe this is also on Kindle Unlimited, so I probably will try to download it on KU. And I don't know, a lot of Elsie Silver books are on KU, so we'll have to see if this was on KU. I'll probably end up downloading it just to make it a little bit easier to read. So, but we have Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, and then those are the romance books that I have this month. The next book that I have is a fantasy, and this is Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I've never read anything by her before, so I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but I picked this up at Barnes & Noble. It was one of those like buy one, get one 50% off deals, so I got this, and I don't know anything about it other than I think she's trying to get revenge on somebody who killed her mom, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, her mom is murdered, and I guess she's trying to, I don't know. It's a romantasy. I'm not even going to try to read it on the back because I don't want to sit here and try to read because I will forget it by the time I pick this book up. So we have Half-Blood, and then we have Shatter Me. This is a reread. I've actually already read this book. This is the only book of the series that I have read, and this was another one that I wanted to finish in 2024. So it's August, and I have a lot of these books that I still need to read, but luckily they are very small. But I did go ahead and read the first one already. This is going to be a reread because I think maybe in August, depending on how my reading experience goes throughout the month, I might end up just picking up more after I read this. I might pick up like the second and the third book just to try to get it done because I only have like 4 months left of the year, and I need to knock out this entire series if I'm gonna meet my goal of read 24 books in 2024. So I need to do that. So we have Shatter Me. And then the next 3 books are going to be for a video, and I must say these are the 3 books that I'm actually kind of intimidated by and I'm kind of scared to read. The first book is Hellbent. This is book 2 of the 9th house. I think this is going to be a trilogy. The 3rd book has not come out yet, but this is the 2nd book. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition with the black edges. I absolutely love this version. But I did read 9th house earlier this year, and I ended up having to get it on audiobook because I found it more enjoyable when I was doing the listening instead of the reading. So I probably am going to do the same thing depending on how this goes. Now that I kind of know the gist of the story, maybe I can just read this without listening to it as well. But if not, this will probably be an audiobook, but we will see. And then we have If We Were Villains. I have a problem with not taking stickers off, but we'll just do it. We'll hold it like this and you don't see. But we have If We Were Villains. This is intimidating because I've heard this is very heavy in Shakespeare, and I have not been in any kind of schooling in many, many years. I graduated high school in 1997, and I went to college afterwards, but regardless, I have not been in like an English literature type class in a very, very long time. I do not have a literature background, and being that this is supposedly very heavy in Shakespeare, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. So this might also be an audiobook that allows me to finish this book, but we will see. So we have If We Were Villains. And then the last book that I'm going to be having on my physical TBR is it is probably the most intimidating book that I have. And I have spoken about this book several times, and I'm hoping my anxiety and intimidation with this book is not warranted. Like after I'm reading it, I realize it's not as bad as I interpreted it to be, and that's going to be the Atlas 6. So I have spoken about this book, I think probably in 4 different videos easily. So this is the month that this will be read. This is going to be my 2nd book by Olivia Blake. This, I don't know why it's so intimidating. It actually, there's pictures in it. Hold on. Oh, there's a picture. Are there, look, see, there's a picture. I like books with pictures. It makes me happy, obviously. Oh, there it is. Are all the characters drawn so I know what they kind of look like? Ooh, he looks intimidating, and he looks like someone I'm going to enjoy reading. He looks like the bad boy. He's all in black. He's got blonde hair, and it looks like maybe dark eyes. I have a feeling I'm going to like that character. I have no idea who that is. Oh, there's a girl. This is not a book. This was not supposed to be me showing off this book. But, so this is going to be probably, hopefully I can get this book done and I can realize I was scared of it for no reason. I'm crossing my fingers that that's going to be the case. But, Atlas 6. Alright, so now that we have the physical books out of the way, I need to go to my Notion really quickly because I have all of the Kindle Unlimited books that I have already downloaded on there. So let me go to my monthly TBR list and let's go through those. the first book, I do have another romance. And I've been really, really, really interested to read Liz Tom Ford's books. I think that's her name. I don't have the book in front of me, obviously. So I think that's her name. If not, I'm very sorry. But I've never read any of her books. And the fourth book of her like Mile High series, I think that's what it's called, just came out. I have not read any of them. So I'm going to pick up Mile High, the first book. I have heard this is the book that people like the least because the MMC is kind of, I guess he's not like he objectifies or he calls out the physical appearance of the FMC, and I think it turns people off, like his personality, but I don't know. So we're gonna try it out. I usually don't have a problem with that unless it gets too harsh. So we'll see. But we're gonna be reading Mile High. The next book that I'll be reading on Kindle Unlimited, I just downloaded, and in the month of July, I read the book Hawk, and I really enjoyed it. And there's a character in that book called Kid, and he has his own book. And I absolutely loved Kid in Hawk. And so I'm going to be reading his book. So we'll be reading Kid in August. I've also decided, I said I was going to wait for this book because the third book doesn't come out until I think February of 2025. And it's a trilogy. So the second book is currently on Kindle Unlimited, and I said I was going to wait until a little bit later in the year to read that book, so that way I'm kind of spacing it well between like the first book and when the third book comes out. But I've decided that's not the case. I've decided I'm going to read it now. So I'm going to be reading What Did You Do?, which is the second book of the Infatuated Fae trilogy. And this was a book that really surprised me that I actually enjoyed. So we're going to be picking up that book. And I'm just excited to kind of see where the story takes the characters, because the ending I did not see coming. And so I'm really curious to see what's actually going to happen in the second book, and then how it's going to end off leading into the third book. So we're going to be reading What Did You Do? And then the next book we're going to be reading, I actually found, this is another romance. I actually found this one because I was just kind of skimming through Kindle Unlimited trying to see, I think last month or the month before, some books that I wanted to read. And I found this book because it was like a 80s/90s romantic comedy called Remember When? And I just looked, and there's 5 of them in this series. But apparently it's a rom-com, and it takes place in the 80s and 90s. So in the description of the book, it has like big hair. It's a high school one. So you have like kegs and like parties and like throwbacks to like 80s and 90s. Like I'm assuming like pop culture type thing. And that is where I belong. I love my 80s and 90s. My like Spotify is all about 80s and 90s music. Some early 2000s, but 80s and 90s, that's where I'm at. Like pop culture, pop music, rock music, all of that. So we're going to be reading Remember When. I'm so excited for this book. I'm hoping it's as good as I'm anticipating it to be, because I love that genre, or I love that era. That's just my heart. I love it. So Remember When. And then there's actually I did not know this, but in my HOA in my neighborhood, there was an author who just published her first book, I think her first book, and she had posted it on Facebook in our HOA page of, hey, she just published this book, it's on Kindle Unlimited if I would be interested. So I have downloaded it, and that is called Secret Keepers, and I think it's a psychological mystery, and I think it has something to do with like a family, like a husband and wife. And that's literally all I know. I hope you enjoyed the description. Thank you so much. So we're going to be reading that. And hopefully it's amazing, because I would love to be able to say that one of my favorite authors lives in my neighborhood. That would be so cool. So anyways, and then the next book we're going to be picking up is a novella. It is the novella that's in between the Curse, what is it? Shadows in the Wings of Night? What is the name of that book? I don't remember. It's the novella to The Serpents and the Wings of Night. This is Six Scorched Roses. I read that first book back in earlier this year, and I really wanted to finish up that trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. I mean, there's 2 books, and then you have the novella in between, so 2.5 book series. So I do want to read that. So I want to read Six Scorched Roses, and then probably next month I'm going to read the last book. I think it's the last book. I could be wrong. But anyways, I want to read that. And then hopefully I didn't miss anything, but I think that was it. I think those are all of the books that I have pre-identified that I want to read in the month of August. Now, I do know that there are some new books coming out in August, which I think I've already pre-ordered. Let me double check. Yeah, so Daydream also comes out in August, which I have pre-ordered. That is book 3 of the Icebreakers series, and I'm super excited for that book. So I will be adding that to my August TBR because I will want to read that because it has, I think his name is Ben. He was like one of my favorite characters or side characters in Icebreaker. So I do want to read his book because I've been so excited for his book. After I read Icebreaker, I knew I was going to enjoy his storyline. So we will be picking up Daydream. I was not one of the ones that got a arc of that book. I would absolutely love to have arcs of books, but I understand. Can't always happen. But we will be getting Daydream in August. So I do know that one is coming, and I don't know anything else. Any other new releases are coming. I don't have them on my list. But like I said, this is kind of the initial list of all of the books that I want to read in the month of August, but that is not a all-inclusive, list. So with that, thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you do so. I would greatly appreciate it. And while you're here, drop me a comment down below and let me know what is one of the books that you're really excited to read in the month of August, whether it's a new release or just a book that you've been eyeing that you want to read in August. Let me know down below because I might end up adding it to my August TBR. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see everybody in my next video. Bye!